We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Leave it to your boy Ego to get y'all right. Shakur Stevenson, did he leave Eddie Hearn? New report came out that suggested just that Shakur Stevenson has left Eddie Hearn and teamed up with Lou DiBella, and it's left a lot of people confused. A lot of people have questions, and they want to know truly what's going on because they don't quite get it. They don't understand what is happening and who to believe in. So I'm going to give you the Boxing Ego report so y'all can get with the program. Yeah, dig. Now, information just came out that Shakur Stevenson, who just had a fight announced with William Zepeda, the report came out that suggests Shakur Stevenson has left Eddie Hearn and he will now be working with Lou DiBella, which threw some people for a loop. Dan Rayfield was the first person to report this. It says, in reporting on July 12th card with Shakur Zepeda, a source with knowledge of specifics told me that Shakur split from Matchroom and his manager. James Prince has hired Lou DiBella as his promoter for the event to keep an eye on stuff, handle some behind the scenes stuff, maybe do some media. Now, this confused people because the way it was written, despite the commas, you know, even if you're grammatically correct, it's the internet. So people see what they see and interpret it how they want. So a lot of people were confused thinking that Shakur Stevenson left Jay Prince and Eddie Hearn. But Dan Rayfield came out and rewrote it and stated, absolutely, Shakur did not leave Jay Prince. Read it again, right? So that's the first point that caused contention or caused some confusion, right? People thought that he left two people, but that's not the case. Dan Rayfield later went on and reworded it because people were confused by it. And he says, let me do this again, worded better. In reporting July 12th with Shakur Zepeda, source with knowledge of specifics, told me Shakur split from Matchroom. James Prince, his manager, has hired Lou DiBella as his promoter for the event to handle things on their behalf, right? So on the internet, you got to be cool, because if you read too fast or you don't comprehend things right, you get the wrong information. And it's sad because I tell you guys all the time, there's a lot of low quality content in the boxing space where people, they want to report, which is cool, but the information is clickbait and it's not accurate and they don't inform themselves. So there's a lot of people running around saying that he left Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, and Jay Prince, and that's not the case, right? Somebody said Shakur might have CTE. How do you go from Top Rank to Matchroom to DiBella? And Rayfield said, worked out very well for Shakur Stevenson. He gets a mid 7-figure payday with Zepeda that's mandatory without a purse bid, hires a promoter for a flat fee that will make much less than a promoter that had him under contract would get, and he will be a free agent afterwards. Somebody says, why Lou DiBella though? He says, why not? He has a good relationship with Prince, knows the New York Commission inside and out and the business overall, and has a ton of experience. Now, a boxing news site came out and reached out to Eddie Hearn, and he said something that's kind of confusing. He says, quote, we have a 2-fight agreement with Shakur Stevenson and Turki Al-Sheikh. That's all he said. So there's a lot of confusion as to what is really going on and what's what. My take on it is pretty simple. This is what I believe is going on. I think Shakur did hire Lou DiBella for this particular event. If you recall and you watch my videos, Shakur Stevenson, he was supposed to fight William Zepeda for a minute. Looked like the fight was going to happen back in the day. Zepeda said he was injured, then went on to fight Tevin Farmer in a rematch. So this fight has been lingering for a while. Then there was another obstacle after the second Tevin Farmer fight, where it looked like they were trying to get the Shakur Stevenson fight back on track and make the fight with Shakur and Zepeda again. And then Shakur comes out and kind of disses Turkey. And he was like, Turkey sending his cowboys at me instead of like getting up with me himself. And he's offering me a significantly less amount than he said initially. So, you know, I'll just wait for this fight to go to purse bid. So out of nowhere, Shakur kind of was throwing shots in Turkey's direction, and it was over money, saying he was basically being offered a different amount and a lowballed amount, period, right? So what I believe happened is Shakur later apologized to Turkey, who's the organizer of the event, and in making the Zepeda fight, he probably did get offered a lesser amount than initially offered, especially after you threw shots at Turkey. I doubt he would, you know, go back and make it all the way right when you're dissing him, right? So to me, it kind of looks like Shakur is trying to cut corners, and he doesn't need Eddie Hearn particularly, since Turkey is the front man with the money and putting on the event, right? So he's kind of like, I already got to pay Jay Prince, and I already got to pay for sparring and, you know, nutrition and all that type of stuff. Do I really need Eddie Hearn when the breadwinner, the front man, is Turkey, and he's throwing up the dough for this fight? And if I can't probably get the money that I thought I was going to get for this particular fight, I'd rather cut out the middleman, which happens to be Eddie Hearn. And that's what it looks like, and it sounds like he did, right? And it's also being reported that they both had an opt-out clause. It was a 2-fight deal. They could go through the first fight, and then after, I believe both people had it in the contract, Shakur and Matchroom, and they could opt to work on the second fight or not work on the second fight. And he didn't get bogged down. So that having little clauses like that can be beneficial for you, because you complete one fight and then you kind of reconvene, if you will, and see what's up. So that's, to me, it sounds like what Shakur Stevenson did. I don't really think it changes much. To me, I mean, if my theory is right, kind of smart on behalf of Shakur. If you're not getting the money that you thought you were going to get, why not cut out the middleman? I mean, what is Eddie Hearn? What do you need Eddie Hearn for? You? Like, if Turkey's putting up the money for the event and financing it, Eddie Hearn is in the UK, so it's not like he's a resource or like Top Rank where they have a Las Vegas office and you need to train in their gym. So it's like, does Shakur Stevenson really truly need Eddie Hearn in this situation? And for me, I don't know. Like, what is Eddie Hearn gonna offer? Do a bunch of interviews? I don't think Shakur cares about that. And then again, when Turkey is situating your money, then you don't really have to sell. Like, the onus is on Turkey. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to sell the event. The way his system is set up, you don't have to do anything extra for real, which is not necessarily good for boxing, but that's a whole nother video. But if his pay-per-view flops, you still get paid. You know what I mean? So you don't have to go out, and since he's offering like almost like flat fees more than fighters relying on the pay-per-view back end portion of it, the fighters can kind of focus on training. So it looks like Shakur cut some corners and opted out with Eddie Hearn and decided, you know, I'll get a seasoned promoter like Lou DiBella in there to help me. Now, I'm not saying Eddie Hearn won't be involved in the event, because Berlanga's still fighting Hamza Shiraz and things like that. So Eddie Hearn very well could be a party to this, but it sounds like Shakur is not working with him directly. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new, but even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.